In theory, Cliff, the best time to invest in a factor, or for that matter, in just about anything else, is the moment of peak capitulation.
Yeah.
But it has been 3 long years
Yeah.
for AQR. It has been much longer for the traditional value. What if peak capitulation is still 2 or 3 more years away?
It's going to suck for me. It's going to suck for the people who believe in me. I think that you've talked about it. I think the odds of that get lower and lower. When you're presented, the crazier prices get, obviously never tell you it's tomorrow, it's going to change. It's next month, it's going to change. But I think we don't ever try to sell a sure thing. And we're not asking, and I wouldn't recommend or probably wouldn't even accept someone to put 100% of their money, their whole nest egg, in value investing. Because I don't think we're wrong. I think there's a very high probability we're right. It's not 100%. So we're going to stick with what we think is a great bet, particularly in a world that, again, doesn't offer a lot of attractive bets at this point.
Is this the most irrational market you've ever seen?
You know, I default to my friend, the value spread. It's tied. It's a little different. Every episode is different. In the tech bubble, it was everything, again. Lots of stocks were expensive, but it was more of an industry effect. Mm-hmm. There's a reason we called it the tech bubble. Tech was not the only thing. The value was crushed within almost every industry we looked at back then. But tech was certainly the deserved poster child. And the value spread between cheap and expensive was considerably wider when you allowed an industry bet than when you constrain that. Value is doing its traditional fighting of quality. You can find plenty of companies that are cheap and are better quality. Mm-hmm. It's not something that I pine for. But you don't have that level of irrationality. But you do have the fact that you don't have to take an industry bet at all to get kind of, at least compared to history, maximum value spreads. It is occurring everywhere. So in that sense, you could take a more diversified bet, which should be more powerful when it starts to come back. So I think it's kind of a push. I call it tied for the most irrational ever.
You're not the only person trying to understand why AQR's performance has struggled. Many of your competitors and your clients have developed theories of their own. Here's one. Cliff is a victim of his own evangelical success. A decade ago, nobody was talking about factors. Now every investor, every serious investor, knows exactly what his or her factor exposure is. And it's the ubiquity of factors that is making them unstable, and it's why correlations are breaking down. What do you say?
I say that is the most positively phrased insult I've gotten in weeks. But this isn't about factors. It's about factors for me, but it's about value investing getting killed and people not caring about quality. To attribute that to factor investing is giving us way too much power and influence. Do you think if there weren't a lot of quants, we would not have had, expensive beating cheap for the last few years? I don't buy it at all, frankly, though I appreciate the compliment about my efficacy.
Here's another. Factor design is outdated. Value in particular is based largely on accounting metrics that don't capture the shift in economic output from manufacturing to services. What do you say?
There's a grain of truth to some of that. Whenever something has had a really bad period, the explanations will come out of the woodwork. You have to take them seriously. You can't be that dismissive kind of, I believe because I believe. You have to take them seriously and investigate them. But you do have to realize that you will hear every explanation in the world for why it was obvious this was going to happen. Most of the time they were not saying it 3 years ago. And they will sound far more plausible to all of our ears than they would. Imagine 3 years ago, someone came and said, quant doesn't work anymore when it had done this. And I was able to go, well, value lost and we still did well. I'd have been wrong about the next 3 years, but everyone would have believed me.